Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, my friends. This is Angy Stewart from Mia INNERLIGHT, and we are super happy to be here tonight, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And as always, we are going to be studying this beautiful book, On the Way to the Light. It is a book from the spirit of Emmanuel that was psychographic by Chico Xavier. And it talks about the evolution in our planet. It's very beautiful. Today, we are doing the chapter 6. And when we finish the chapter, we will be studying this one here. But this one is a theme book, and we usually dedicate like just 10 minutes to know a little bit more about Spiritism. So this book is a book that Allan Kardec did in a way like a conversation, and it's just a very simple summary. So we can just read a couple items and be able to understand a little bit more about Spiritism. So right now that we are going to start inviting our guests, but as always, we usually connect with the enlightened spirit. So we do a prayer, and I hope you have your water bottle, that it can be your medication. And so let's just close our eyes for a few seconds so we can invite our spiritual protectors to help us to connect. Okay? God, our Mother and Father, our guardian angels, thank you so much for the opportunity to be studying tonight another beautiful book. We would like to ask our guardian angels to come close to each one of us, myself, and my two guests for tonight, so we can be all well inspired, well connected. And we also ask these good vibrations to be placed on our friends that will be watching it live, so they can also get this good inspiration to make comments, ask questions, and we can have a good participation. Thank you. So be it. Very good. So let's start. Let's start inviting our guests. Hello, Julio.
Hello. Good night, everybody. Happy to be here.
Thank you for coming. Super happy to have you here too.
Okay, thank you.
So most of you already know Julio. He have been here with us a few times. It's not the first time he is here. He lives in Coral Gables, very close to our Spiritist Center here in Miami. And he is a Spiritist for a long, long time. So
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we have our friend Katya, a repetition. It was so awesome that she came last month and she came this month again.
As a homework, I'm here. Well, good night, everyone. Thank you for the invitation, Angy. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Katya, for being here too. Thank you for helping us with this beautiful book, this beautiful study. So just tell us a little bit about you. You also live in Florida. Which city?
Yes, I live in Florida, in Boca Raton, and I participate like very strong participation in the Spirit Society of Palm Beach here. Our center, by the way, last weekend celebrates 33 years here in Florida. Yeah, it was a good anniversary. And I'm a spirit since 2009, more or less. So a couple of years that I've been studying and learning every time.
That's awesome, but amazing. So your center 33 years old. That's incredible. That's
Yes.
a
Christ
great,
age.
a
Yeah.
great achievement. That's a
Yeah.
really, really nice. Well, congratulations. Our center is just a little baby, 5 years old.
Very
But
great.
it is great to have it open. It's always wonderful to have a little point of light everywhere.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
this is great. So I'm just seeing the name of some of our friends here: Dorellis, Life in 4D, and the Juan. Very, very nice seeing you all. If you are watching, please send a message, write a comment, ask a question, so I can read and I can know that you are here. I'm not on Facebook or YouTube, so I do not see your names. Okay, let's go ahead. It's already 9:08. We have to study this chapter. Then we need to dedicate a few minutes to the other book that is so beautiful. So just to remind you all, if you want to purchase the book, is On the Way to the Light. I'm just going to read the titles for the ones that never heard of this book. This is an amazing book. It's very historical. It tells things that we never imagined possible. So tell us the story of the first inhabitants that came to our planet Earth. Actually start telling us how the planet was created. And then which were the first inhabitants and the civilizations that came from the star Capella to here. So the first chapter, it's called the planetary genesis, that you start talking about how the planet was going to be created, what was decided. Then came organized life. That's how the life start really happening on Earth, how it surged. Was in the ocean, what type of animals started. Then chapter 3 was Adamic races, that talks a little bit about these races that lived in the star Capella. And the Capella was already evolved, it's like a planet already in the full regeneration phase, more or less like Earth right now. Earth is beginning the regeneration phase. So Capella had to remove all the people that were rebellious and ship them somewhere, and they end up coming to Earth. So the people from Capella were very, very intelligent, most of them very religious, connected to God, but they had all kinds of issues. So this is chapter 3. Then chapter 4, Egyptian civilization, super interesting. And then Indian civilization, we did last month. And tonight we are going to talk about the Hindu-European family. I have to tell you that they are my favorites. They are full of problems, but they are my favorites. I love them. I think I am one of them. That's why I identify so much with them. So,
Totally.
as I always do, I will read a little bit, and then we all can start talking about it. And you are that are listening, please let us know, and we can have comments. Oh, I see Bridget and Tina. Hello, my friends. Happy to have you here with us as well.
Angie,
Okay.
Angie, just one thing I don't know if you mentioned it, is that this book was psychographed by Chico Xavier, and the guide that gave the message was Emmanuel. I think
Yes.
this is because uh, this is the Emmanuel point of view. Is the description that we have in this book is was what Emmanuel said about the evolution of our
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah, it's very good, because maybe we have people that are very new to Spiritism, don't understand very much. And yeah, so this is Emmanuel's point of view in relation to how the earth was created. So was what he was able to understand, interpret, and provide to the medium, Chico Xavier, who
Exactly.
psychographic the book. And that's how we have this piece of history in our hands. So let's go. Chapter 6, the Hindu-European family. Right now, we are going to be talking about the first portion called successive migrations. Although it took the Hindu and the Egyptian civilizations only a few centuries to become a well-established, the same was not true with the Aryan civilization. That would begin its evolutionary activities in Europe. Only over the course of many centuries were its successive migrations normalized across the high plains of Persia. Nearly all the streams of the white race, which would later represent the genealogical branches of the Hindu-European family, proceeded from the future Iran. So Iran, the country Iran, is actually where they said this Indo-European family proceeded from. And so very, very interesting when we think about Iran nowadays, especially, unfortunately, we had a bombing there recently. It's painful for us to think about that. Actually, it's painful for us to think about our planet right now with so many possibilities of bigger wars and other wars happening. It's sad when we think we are in 2025 and that these things are happening. We always think of wars from the past, but no, we are in a moment that we never know what's going to happen. Today, I was talking to my coworkers that are in Poland, and
Oh,
they told me last week was a big commotion because there were a lot of drones from Russia, and later on they found the bombs near the train station. So I'm like, oh my goodness, it's
Wow.
sad. It's sad to think this is happening right now. But let's go. We have to do our part and remain positive and understand that our Master Jesus has everything under control, even if we all have our free will. So, exercising well our free will, we are here. And thank you, my friends that are here with us studying. So, what can we talk about these successive migrations? Why these people love to travel so much?
they they like to, like, they were trying to find a way, and they were very rebellious, this and hardened, right? They had no faith, so they have nothing to set down and stay. And I think my opinion is, like, they were like free around, and they didn't set up as the others, the chapters that we saw, that they have a kind of faith, they had a kind of something to believe and stay. So they went to Europe, and they were the first white race, as they said, to be in Europe. But they were like not very united, I would say, a little bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they were super rebellious,
Yes.
super
yes.
rebellious.
Yeah.
So because they were rebellious, they didn't want to settle in any land. They wanted to discover other things. There
Yeah.
must be a place that's better than this one. I imagine because I am like this. I am in a place, and then after some time, okay, let's move on. Let's go to a different place, maybe another house, another apartment. Of course, I'm a sweeter version of the Aryans from that time. But yes, this was one of the big things, rebelliousness. They were very rebellious against how do you say their
So what happened to them? Like, they
Exactly.
were like, they were like expelled from the star capella to here, and they were like, we don't like this idea. We are, as you said, we are intelligent. We know why we are here. So they were like kind of unsatisfied with everything.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Because the other races, the Egyptians and the Hindus, they were very, very religious and very, very connected, and they had this deep understanding that when they die, they will go somewhere else and probably back to their planet, to their star. But the Aryans, they were super angry with this. They did not accept being expelled, and because of this, they had zero connection with any type of religiousness, God, nothing.
No
We
faith,
don't believe
nothing.
in it.
Yes.
We are angry at this. And but this later on, we are going to see that it was also very good, because the fact they were not religious brought them to science. So this in the
Exactly.
future, it was actually good. But Julio, I don't allow you to talk, so you can talk now.
No, what I think is what you said, you and Katja, because we know that when we move is because we are not happy, because we are not happy in the place that we are. And internally, maybe they didn't understand, because we know that while we are incarnated, we don't remember that, oh, I was living in another planet. But internally, they was feeling sad and not happy. And I think was the impulse for them to try to discover or move to new places, because internally they were not happy. And we know the reason, because Emmanuel explained us, because they are not happy because they came from a more advanced planet, coming from one planet super
Yeah.
not in the same level that they were before.
In a primitive level.
Exactly, exactly. But even if they didn't understand from where the unhappiness were coming from, they were not happy. And for this reason, explains, at least for me, why they try to move when they do this so many migrations. And in
So
the end,
this
was good for the planet.
this we connect already with the next item, the absence of historical writings. So the historians, they mention they could find a lot of writings from the Hindu civilization, from the Egyptians, super super famous for their beautiful writings and drawings, but the Aryans, zero. Why? They didn't want to
Why
write.
leave trace? Why leave trace? Like they don't want to do anything, right? They didn't like
Yes,
record anything or
yes. My explanation for this is mine. It's not Emmanuel. Blah blah blah. Is my explanation is that even if we the archaeological artifacts that we see in the different cultures usually are religious artifacts. Even the pyramids, because the pyramid, even if you think that is just a place sorry, to be uh, the not graveyard. How can I say the place to put the kings, the pharaohs after they die? But
The burial
yes,
place.
but in the end of the day, even the pyramids represent some religious thing. And for the Indo-Europeans, they at least in the beginning they didn't believe in anything. They didn't have any kind of spirituality. They didn't, you know, even believe in any kind of God, at least in the beginning. and also because they were moving, migrating, and do not staying anywhere. I think that maybe explains a little why we don't have this archaeological artifact from them.
Yeah.
This is
I
my
like
point of view. This is the thing that I try to explain this.
Yeah, I like the what Emmanuel wrote, because he said that they were aimless and hopeless because of their independent and obstinate nature. They depended only on their own strength. So the other civilizations, they had the hope in God, and they pray, and they have this connection. And the speaker, Haroldo Dutra Dias, he is very funny when he talks about the book, because he talks the Egyptians, they connected with their guides, they meditate, they did that. The Hindus, they got Zen, like, and they went already to the other planet, connected with their family members, and they're like, okay, we are fine here, we're gonna go through this. But the Aryans, because they were so rebellious, they didn't believe in any of this, so they believe only in themselves. That's it or nothing. And then that's how they became these explorers, because they didn't settle down. They, as you said, they didn't feel happy in any location. They keep searching for a better place, and because of that, they really didn't keep any type of area. They stayed a long time to leave their mark imprinted. And then there is a place also that in the same area that talks that later on, much later on, the Celts returned to the worship of the divine by venerating the forces of nature amongst the sacred oaks. And the Germans became their devotion to fire. So these are the areas in the future. Then they become many different civilizations, the Germans, the Celts, and many others. And then the religiosity starts coming back little by little, nothing like the other ones that we mentioned. Very interesting, very, very interesting. I still connect with them very much. The third area, the great virtue of the European areas. This for me was the best. The best. When I read that, I said, yes, they are problematic. They are rebellious, complicated people. But just because of that, I was like,
They are
yes,
social.
I love them. I love them. So, what can we talk about the virtue? What was their virtue? If they had so many problems, what was their virtue?
Their virtue was to celebrate. They used to celebrate, fraternize with the originals from Earth, right? So it was something that was considered good, at least, even they being very harder and very like not connected with any spirituality.
What
Yes.
else?
What
Julie,
else?
what else did they do?
What they do, I think that the big thing, at least is what Emmanuel describes, is that they differently from the other groups, the Egyptians and the Hindus, and also the Hebrews, they connect with the local population, local people, and I don't know, maybe this show us that they have not much prejudice. I don't know, but they. I will not say that they were social, but they worked together with the tribes and that they found during this their path, and this is good because
Exactly.
they worked together, and help us. When I say help us, because I put it myself like a daughter coming from Capella, maybe I'm from Earth, but help the local population to evolve as well technically, and because again, Emmanuel told us that these people coming from a more elevated technological planet, they were more, I will not say smart, but they develop better, bring skills that we didn't have here before, and they
Yeah.
help the people, teaching people, and I think this was good.
Yes, that this was one of the main things. And so we studied the previous chapters. We know that the Egyptians, they were very close within themselves. So all the other peoples, they were actually good to be slaves, but they didn't like interact. They didn't marry amongst the others. They were always Egyptians with Egyptians. And we also read the Hindus the same things. And the Hindus, until nowadays, it's really it's a population that they are still very, very connected.
Close.
And the tradition makes it very difficult for the ones that don't want to marry with another person from India, with a foreigner. It's still nowadays it's still very difficult. And we also know about the castes in India that exist until nowadays. So all these items were very complicated. But the Aryans, they had all kinds of problems, but they mingle.
Yes,
So yes, they married, and the book even explains they acquire some
assimilate.
of the knowledge from the natives, and
Mhm.
they pass their knowledge as well. They taught the others. So this was really really good, different from the other ones that we studied. Dorelis is mentioning something here. Let me see. So the rallies is saying, and because of the lack of writing records, Emmanuel says they dated back 10,000 years before Christ. Yes, very
Exactly.
good, the rallies. Ah, we have someone to read the book. Yes, that's awesome. They got along well with the primitive people and helped them to grow and progress. Exactly. This is the characteristic of
Exactly.
them that I
Yeah.
love the most. I was really like, I connect with them. So I think from all the peoples that came from Capella, if I can say who I am an Aryan. That's why they shipped me to Brazil to be a little bit different, but super, super interesting. And another thing that was interesting in the same chapter, it talks about all the peoples that originated there. So just to cut it short, it talks about the Peloponnesian Peninsula, and talks that various different people came in the region of Russia, where the ancestors of the Greeks, Latins, Samians, Umbrians, Gauls, Scythians, Iberians, Romans, Saxons, Germans, Slavs may be found. So all this different type of population that we only read like in books of magic, of history, when we talk about the Gauls, and when we talk about the Saxons. It's like it's so interesting to know that all of them originated from the Aryans. Very, very.
And Angie, just if you allow me to comment, like this is Europe today, right? You are here, you are in France, then you cross, you are in UK, and then you are in Poland, and then you are in Portugal, then you're in Spain. So it's like a lot of countries like talking different language among
Yeah.
them, and it's a one community. And even Rome, Italy, Greece, as you said. So a lot of countries here and there, and they might not speak even today the same language, right?
Yeah. Isn't
Europe,
that
it's
super
very,
interesting?
yeah,
Like when we think the countries are so small and connected to each other, and this one here, Italy, here, Switzerland, they don't speak the same language. But when we think about the book, then we start understanding.
yep.
Aha!
It came like, as Dorelli says, like
Yeah.
thousands and thousands years ago, all this, and this is how they are today, right?
Yes, yes, very cool, very cool, and yes, very cool. And when we compare Europe to United States or to Brazil, United States, Brazil, gigantic continents talking the same language, and then we take the whole Europe talking so many different languages with their own peculiarities and really really super super cool. My friends, if you are watching us online, I only know who you are if you write something, if you send a message, if you send a question, a comment. So do like the rallies. By the way, the rallies, where are you from? Tell us, are you here in the United States? Tell us a little bit about you. I'm curious. So let's go, and then we what else do we have to talk about this item? Anything else that you guys think it's necessary? I think we can already move to the Mediterranean and North Sea. So the Mediterranean North Sea, he starts talking at that time. New geological phenomena shook life on the planet, and then Jesus needed to establish a definitive boundaries for the great civilization whose origins were taking shape. This physical convulsion gave rise to renewals and defined the Mediterranean and North Sea, setting the limits of action of these two centers of workers for collective evolution. So very interesting. So we already know that there was a convulsion on the planet, and then came the Mediterranean and the North Sea. Um, they were created, but the limits of they were actually established. So what can we talk about this?
This part for me was a little confusing. I read this in the book. Emmanuel described that this geological phenomena happening, separated, segregating North Sea and Mediterranean. But for me, there are maybe a lack of information there explaining why. Even saying that Christ was trying to, you know, but I don't know why this was supposed to happen. But is here maybe we are not trying to say why. It's just happened in this period, and explains a little why we see differences between people from north of Europe and more in the Mediterranean, because for some reason that at least I don't understand, was created a barrier between them. And with this barrier, maybe helped to increase the rivalry between them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Katya, anything?
Yeah, I think
We,
Christ and
we don't
the
need to talk
entire,
about the fact of the Mediterranean Sea, but we can continue talking about what this little area talks about, the civilizations that are
yeah, I
staying.
think the division, like as the geological or whatever it happened at that time, and of course the reincarnation of these people, they were kind of already dividing into groups, creating like European families, marked by their diverse racial expressions. So
Mm-hmm.
their spirituality was trying to already divided them and grouping them, right? To make sure that they will get with different people here, there, and there, and there to progress. As we all do, we have to progress and we have to learn in our lives, like always. This is my understanding.
Yeah, no, I agree. This portion here is the portion that Emmanuel explains to us this detail. So he talks about the Hindu-European family, which, although it was the most rebellious against the designs of the Most High, it was the only one that could get along with the native inhabitants. That's what we were talking about. Perfecting their racial characteristics without discouragement in the construction, a constructive action of workshops of the future. Workshops of the future is like Jesus working on how they're going to be looking, the physical looking, or even the area where they would be inhabiting. So it's always like a
And explain this,
surprise.
explain a little bit on the next piece of the book, saying
Yeah,
that these divisions also cause them some kind of, I would say, war, but a kind of fight between
yeah.
them, separate, this is my land, this is my place, this is this, and it caused then some feelings that like it shouldn't. They should progress in a good way, but they start stucking in some bad feelings and type of war among them.
Yeah, before we go to the other item. One of the things that is important here also that we should mention is that the reincarnation of a numerous agents of the master in his divine endeavors make a new phase of evolution to the Indo-European family, meaning Jesus sent a lot of emissaries, spirits that were more elevated, that were more connected with some kind of religiosity to help these rebellious people to start coming back to a little bit of more religiosity within them. So this is important, and then it comes that that's why in Greece so many people connected to teachings and arts and singers were founded because all these beautiful artists end up reincarnating in Greece, for example.
Yeah.
And then we go to the next the next area where the problems are going to start: the Nordic and Mediterranean peoples. So that's here, Katya, that the problems
Yes,
start.
yes.
This is ours. No, then I started, no, but this is mine. That is yours. And that's when all the problems start happening. And
Yeah.
that's when in the book it says,
Even with the spirituality, like providing good spirits, providing us connection, like I include myself on that, right? We were still like dividing, like putting borders in everything, and not evolving as we should.
yes, no, it's true. So the rallies, you are from Miami. What have you done that you haven't come to me in the light yet? Where have you been? We are every Tuesday in the Spiritist Center from 7 to 8:30. Come to visit us. So Dorelli said Mediterranean connects many countries, and in the past travels by boat was the easiest and the fastest route. So maybe that helped with commerce between nations and the time. Yes, for sure it happened. And then Juan said in his Nordic and Mediterranean piece, Emmanuel seems to have predicted the World War II. Look at this one. Yes, because there is an area here that Emmanuel says the Nordic and the Mediterranean peoples both took up primitive weapons of wage wars of extermination and destruction against enemy hosts. And dividing line between the combatants was drawn precisely on the border of today's France and Germany. So it goes on explaining that why so many years later France and Germany had the strong conflict, still connected from that old time. So yes. This book for me was really like um, a blessing. I remember reading it and having all these aha moments, like really amazing. So moving on to the origin of the rationalism. What can we talk about this one?
I think this is connected with because they didn't have this religious, this beliefs in religion and life after death, and they were more materialistic and practical. I think this is in the end uh, 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 not created, but goes in this direction to be more rational in this sense that it should be more materialistic. This is the way that I think.
Yes. Katya.
Yeah, they didn't have any like strong religious influences, so it took them to the path that they would go very good in science, like everything that was cultivated by reason, they were like good. So they starting, you know, moving on that way.
Exactly. So if we go to read a little bit, it mentions here in the almost the last paragraph says the rationalism of their concept, their tendency towards the positive science, and their love for hegemony and liberty are thus made clear in the analysis of their early beginnings. And then goes on and says the cultivation of reason, they were able to develop science to their heights of modern conquests. So, because of this, because they were not religious, they decided to really go towards science. Like, yes, there is in their understanding, we don't connect with religion. Well, who cares if there is God? That's what they are analyzing. And then they said, okay, we depend only on ourselves and our own strength. And let's see what we can do to improve our situation. And then that's when they started really analyzing the earth, analyzing, trying to understand, and end up building up the resources to develop science. So this was another positive point
This
for
is
the
Yeah, and if you think it today, we still have a division between science and religion somehow, right? We have science thinking on science, rational, and religion or spirituality. And the Spiritism came to try to connect this and show that we are together. Like we need science and we need religion, spirituality as well.
exactly. This is the main point because we need both, and there are things that science is the one that really knows and dominates well, but there are other areas that is religiosity or spirituality that can explain that. And nowadays we already see, even in certain hospitals, especially in Brazil, we have hospitals that are spiritist hospitals. So it's beautiful to see science and spirituality connected. So in these hospitals, all the doctors and nurses, they pray together before they go into surgery. And in many areas in the hospital, the patients receive the healing passes before a surgery, which is really, really good, because we know that spirituality is always around us. So it's great that we can connect with the good spirits, the guardian angels, to protect and guard the medical personnel before they go into a surgery, for example. So I wish we had this here in America, but I think it's too a little bit far. But we are going. One day, we will reach there. One day we will reach there. So we are there. So the last point that Emmanuel mentioned was the labor of thought. They had to start thinking, and that's how science came from them. Super cool. Now the last point. The last point is the warnings of Christ. So the last item. What you have to talk about that?
Junior?
I don't remember this part. I did it.
Okay.
Was it the end?
No worries. I have some notes that I try to remember. One thing is them, like, they help the natives from Earth to lift from primitivism to a better another, let's say, grade, right? So with the science, the way they were in a great constructive work of evolution for the Earth. So this is one of the things that Chris said. Also mentioned about the free will. So the lack of their spirituality, it didn't, like, they still have the free will, so of course contributed them to go to an exercise on maybe not still believing, or maybe believing or doing things that they not supposed to do at that time. Those are the two things that I remember from this chapter.
Yes, and my understanding was almost like the other peoples, the Egyptians and the Hindu, and we are going to be studying the Hebrews. They had this connection with God, this understanding. They were more spiritual, so they had a problem. Let me connect. Let me connect. Let me ask for guidance and help. And we know we always receive guidance and help, but when we can connect, we can listen, we can be inspired, we can absorb this good guidance. And because the Aryans, they didn't have that, so they basically were using their free will. Obviously, they were also inspired. They have guardian angels, but it's just that in their case, the free will was even stronger than in the others. That the others, they had a little bit of more help because they were more open to it. And in the case of the Aryans, they really had to exercise their free will in a stronger way. But as it always says here, the last sentences is Christ will support their worthiest and purest expressions, spiritually speaking. And in the psychological moment of a great transformations, the fruit of their abundant activities will be used as a new seed for the civilization of the future. So the bottom line is Christ is this good mother and father, And even if the Aryans were this complicated people, full of issues, God, Jesus loved them as all the others, and helped and guided. And as we always say, every single one, every person, the people say, oh, this person is a horrible person. But we have to think about the symbol of the yin and yang, that the little circle divided in the middle, that one side is white with a little black dot, and the other side is black with a little white dot. So what does it mean? It means that the side that is totally black with a little white dot means there is hope. There is nothing totally evil, totally negative, totally bad. No, it's a little germ being born, that the goodness is coming, but it is still very small. And the other side is all bright and beautiful and pure, but there is the black dot. And what is the black dot? The black dot is that there is something negative there, but that spirit is already able to control the good over the negative. So that's why it's so small, but it's still there. But we have always to use our free will to be able to control this. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, and Emmanuel presents like this Indo-European family like as an instrument of the divine providence, like showing that each people, we have a mission, we have a specific mission that contribute to the plan of evolution. So it's not, as you said, oh, this guy or someone, it's like it's useless or it doesn't work well or doesn't do this well, but it doesn't matter. Like he has or she has also a mission to the evolution plan. Always, always.
Yes.
Right.
Very good. Very good. Julie, do you want to say anything about the book before we move to the other book?
No, I think that the book is very interesting. Explains a lot of things that we don't have ways to know. Just if spirits come and describe that, for example, we have these origins in a more evolved planet, that people that were not going well there was migrated for Earth, planet Earth. I think it's super interesting. Is a lesson to learn. Even for us, if we don't behave, who knows what will happen.
Yeah, if our energy doesn't match the energy that the planet goes, we are going to, they will find a planet or a star, whatever, that our energy is going to match. And this is what happened to them. It's
exactly
like, it's not just the behavior, is the energy, everything that you are showing. If doesn't match, you have to find another home.
Yes, yeah. No, and when we think that, imagine Chico Xavier wrote this book in 1939, 1939, and we know Chico Xavier. We know that he had very little schooling. So imagine writing a book with so many complicated items and all those names I mentioned, the Celts, the Saxons, the Romans, a person from Brazil with very little school to mention about this, it's so difficult. So that's why we really know how his mediumship was so true and so powerful. But at the same time, can you imagine this book arriving to spiritists? And they're like, what? What is that? I can imagine how the revolution that was when this book arrived, and people start thinking, is it possible? Is it true? Food for thought. My friends, let's move on to what is Spiritism. So this one we are going to read a little bit, and then one will read and the other can comment, and we can all comment together. Is it big enough? Can you guys see it? Good.
No.
Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger so you can see it better. But I will ask you, Julio, to start reading, and then Katia can make comments. So we are in the last chapter of this book. Oops. Okay. Yes. Go ahead, Julio.
Can go up.
Okay, so the solution of a few problems by means of a Spiritist doctrine. Now we're going to be talking about the plurality of worlds.
Okay, 105. Are the many worlds traveling through space, people with inhabitants as in the earth? Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead. Okay. Now answer. This was the question. What is the answer?
All the spirits have affirmed it, and reason states that it must be so. Since the earth occupies no special class in the universe, either because of its position or size, there is nothing that would justify believing that it alone is privileged enough to be inhabited. Moreover, God could not have created those billions of globes simply for the pleasure of our own eyes, especially since the vast majority is beyond our sight.
Katia, what do you comment?
We are not alone.
Yes, very good. Short and concise.
Exactly.
We are not alone. Why would it be life only on Earth? It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. If there are billions and billions of planets and stars, it's because there is life in other ones. It's just that we don't have technology yet to reach to the point. But more and more and more people keep saying that they come here to visit us. And some of us already saw them, and they comment that NASA already collected and killed some of them, but don't, everything is this big secret, so the population don't get desperate. But yes, there are life in other planets for sure. So now, Katia, can you read for us 106?
Sure. 106. If other worlds are inhabited, are all their inhabitants similar to those of the earth? In other words, could these inhabitants live among us and us amongst them? Their overall form might be more or less the same, but their composition must be adapted to the environment in which they live. Just as a fish are made to live in water and birds in the air. If the environment is different, as everything would lead us to believe, and just astronomical observations seem to show. Their physical compositions must be different also. Hence, in their normal state, they probably could not live among us one another with the same bodies. All the spirits have confirmed this to be a fact.
Julio, what do you think?
I think that our body will be what we need to have for the planet that we are inhabitants.
Exactly.
Depends the planet.
I love the example. I love the example they gave, the fish and the birds. It's perfect. Like we already can reach to the moon, but if we don't have all that equipment, we will die. So yes, we can go scuba diving, but if we don't have the equipment, we will die. So yes, very, very good. And I believe it is like this. the planets are different, so the physical bodies and their characteristics might be similar but not exactly the same. Now, Julio, can you read 107, please?
107. Assuming that these worlds are inhabited, are they in the same position as the earth from the moral and intellectual point of view?
Just read the pink. Just read the pink.
Just the pink. Various worlds are at very different degrees of evolution. Some are in the same condition as the earth, others are even less evolved. There are worlds on which human beings are morally, intellectually, and physically more evolved. Arts and science have attained a degree of perfection incomprehensible to us, and where the inhabitants' less physical composition is subject neither to suffering, disease, nor infirmity. People live in a place without trying to harm one another, and they do not experience the vexations, troubles, afflictions, or needs that assails earth people. Moreover, there are worlds that are more evolved still, where the nearly fluidic corporeal envelope approaches more and more the nature of the angels.
Very good. Katya, what did you understand?
That yes, we have more words that they might be evolved than us, some that are similar as Earth, and each one has their trials, their suffering, or their good, as at the end mentions about the angels. So it always has a graduation for each of the planets, the stars, and the worlds.
Exactly. So the spirits, they tell us that the earth is not a primitive world anymore, but it's not the creme de la creme either. So we are kind of, if this is primitive.
We're in the second level yet.
Close. We are better, but very close. But there are planets where the spirits who live there are much, much more improved. And they live in peace. And for us, they would be angels because they are so much more evolved. Mm-hmm. And all the disagreements we have here, they are inexistent there. So one day we will reach there. Far, but one day we will reach there. My friends,
Haroldo Dutra says that thanks God that we don't find another word in trials and expiations, because it's imagine. So if we find someone good, they might be able to see us, but we might not be able to see them due to energy and everything. So.
Yeah. No, and another thing is that our planet right now is in a similar situation of a Capella, the star, where we studied that all this population, they were expelled. So we are here. We probably came from Capella, and we are doing good. So it's better we work hard to not be expelled again. Can you imagine? Again? No, please. So let's do our best to stay here and continue improving.
True. So true.
Very good, my friends. Thank you so much. It was awesome. Julio, could you do our final prayer, please?
Okay. Dear God, Mother and Father, thanks one more time for the opportunity that you gave us to come and study this special book and help us in our daily basis, because even knowing what we should do, what is the good, what is the bad, we are still weak, and without your help, sometimes we think that we are not able to do everything that we needed. Thanks again for the opportunity to be here. So be it.
So be it. Very, very good. Thank you so, so much. Thank you so much for all of you that participated with us, that watched the program. And thank you so much, Julio, for coming, and Katia for joining us last minute. It was a blessing. And I hope all of you can come back again next month to go to chapter 7. Let's continue our process of evolution with the book. And my friends, I will disconnect and I will see you soon. And Julio and Katia, stay there. I want to talk to you. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye.